Do you need help figuring out the best way to motivate your child or to know what motivators are to use for reinforcement? In this video, I will teach you how to conduct a preference assessment to help you determine what your child likes best to create a positive teaching experience for you and a positive learning experience for your child. In this video, I will go through with you 5 different types of preference assessments, all the steps in order for you to determine what your child's favorite things are. This can be used to determine which reinforcers are best to use in ABA therapy, as well as what's the best to help motivate your child to learn any new skill and create a positive behavior to benefit them in learning any skills they need in order to live an independent, happy, and successful life. Hi, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Liz and I'm from Teaching Kids with Liz. I have over 20 years experience working with kids with special needs. I've worked in schools, daycares, private and publicly funded organizations. I've worked alongside occupational therapists, psychologists, speech and language pathologists, teachers, principals, and ECEs, you name it. I also used to run my own successful private ABA therapy, applied behavior analysis therapy called Love Kids ABA. Now I'm homeschooling my kids for the past 8 years, and I've created an online course to help parents teach their child all sorts of skills, increasing communication, toileting, self-help skills, brushing their teeth, any skills to help them become independent and live a happy and successful life. If you're interested in learning more about my ABA Your Way program, please make sure to go to the description and book a call with me, and we can determine together if this program is right for you. Also, if you'd like some more information, you can go ahead and check out my website at teachingkidswithliz.com. Okay, so let's get started. Why would you want to do a preference assessment? A preference assessment basically provides you an opportunity to gather information to identify potential reinforcers based on your child's selection. Sometimes children aren't able to communicate verbally what their likes or dislikes are, but that's okay because this preference assessment is a perfect tool to help you figure out what will help or hurt your child. By using highly preferred items and items that your child likes best and that they prefer, that will increase the probability of your child learning a new behavior, a new skill that you have set out for them, or just listening to you. It will increase that probability. Having this type of information or this assessment is very valuable to a parent or a teacher with any children. It's like getting to know your child the best interests and what they like, but with a more scientific approach. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to introduce to you 5 different types of preference assessments. The different types of preference assessments are free operant, single stimulus, multiple stimulus with and without replacement, and paired stimulus. Let me explain to you about all these different types of assessments so you can decide which one is best for you to use. In free operant preference assessment is where you just watch and you record the duration that the child engages in each activity over a period of time. It can be an hour, 15 minutes. Depends on your child and the level of activity and the amount of activities or reinforcers they play with throughout the day or for a period of time. The longer the duration they spend playing with a certain item or activity, the stronger the preference they have in that activity. No response is required from you in this type of preference assessment. You're simply observing and all the preferences or motivators that are available and within the child's reach, and the items are never removed after their selection. You'll also want to make note of the things that your child avoids and stays away from. Here's an example of a free operant data sheet that you can use. It's very simple and you can create your very own very simply. This is just one of the many examples I provide the parents I help teach their children with in the ABA Your Way workbook package. For a single stimulus type of preference assessment, one item is presented at a time and in a random order. You will record the duration that your child engages with the item and their reaction. Example, do they push it away? Do they immediately want it? Are they hesitant? Each item is presented several times and in random order. You can add more rows in the single stimulus data sheet than the free operant. This is because you want to record every time you present an item. Depending on how many reinforcers you are presenting, this data sheet could look much longer for you. Keep in mind when selecting a preference assessment style that works best for you. Preference assessment, multiple stimuli with replacement. With multiple stimuli preference assessment with replacement, you present an array of 2 to 3 items in front of your child and allow the child to choose one. Once your child has interacted with the item, replace the unselected item with new items, including the previously selected item. That's why it's referred to as multiple stimuli with replacement. The next assessment I will be showing you is without replacement. Similarly to the other assessments, the items selected the most are the most preferred, and those selected the least are the least preferred. Preference assessment, multiple stimuli without replacement. With the multiple stimuli without replacement preference assessment, it allows us to create a hierarchy of preference. Your method of presenting the items is what is different in each different type of assessment. Place all items in front of your child and allow them to choose one. The chosen item is no longer available for selection in the array, and only the remaining few items are included. This is continued until all items are chosen or the student no longer chooses items from the array. Items chosen in the first few trials are most preferred, and the items chosen last are the least preferred. The Parrot stimulus preference assessment allows us to create a hierarchy of preferences as well, but presenting the items in a different way. This method is more appropriate for children who can choose highly preferred items over less preferred items, but are unable to scan between more than 2 items. So if you have tried the other 2 methods and they aren't working for you, or you know they won't work for your child, then this is a great alternative. However, this method is not for children who engage in challenging behaviors when items are removed. First, start by presenting 2 items each time and prompt your child to choose which one they want. Once your child has chosen the item, 2 new items are presented for them to choose. If you take a look at the Parrot Stimulus Preference Assessment datasheet provided in your workbook, you will notice in each trial you have space to write 2 items shown and then the most preferred choice. The item selected during the most number of trials is the most preferred items, and the item selected in the least number of trials is the least preferred item. So here are a couple of things to make note of. Not all preferences function as reinforcers. The preference assessment should be conducted very frequently because preferences can change over time. Also, you want to ensure that your child is making the correct choice and actually choosing something that they want. So you're going to want to include items that they don't want to play with within the array to make sure that they're not just randomly grabbing anything, that they really do want the items that they choose, and they really don't want those items that you know for sure that they're not going to like. It's also important to know if your child can scan and choose the items. If your child engages in challenging behaviors with preference during a preference assessment, then these are all important things to take note when selecting the different types of preference assessments that works best for you and your child. For a child without language, a reinforcement assessment looks very different. You present items one at a time and you want to see if the child is interested in it. This may help identify reinforcers, but it fails to differentiate which one is the most desirable and which one is the most effective. You can also show a variety of items at the same time and ask your child to pick, but then you can kind of make the assumption that that is probably the most preferred item, but not 100% of the time. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Try it out, see what works, see if one does work, and if it doesn't, try the other one. If you may think that one assessment might work better than the other, but when you actually conduct it, it doesn't, that's part of the process and it's totally normal. And that's why I wanted to make this video and wanted to give you all the different types of assessments that you can conduct with your child to help you gain all the information possible to help you in teaching your child. If you're wanting to learn more tools and strategies on how you can teach your child, especially if you have a child diagnosed with a learning need such as autism, then make sure to subscribe, click like if you've liked this video, and go to the description and you can find tons of links of information where you can get the PDF for some data sheet templates from this video that we talked about. You can also book a call with me to see if the ABA Your Way program is a right fit for you, where I teach parents how to teach their child all skills to help them become independent and live a long, happy, and successful life. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you supporting my channel. Make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and click that notification bell button. I'll see you in the next video.